is it okay for a politician to block you on social media? This is a very fascinating discussion. It originates mostly with Donald Trump blocking people's access to his own Twitter after they have made disparaging remarks. It seems like essentially what he does is he goes through all the verified people, and if a verified person says something mean to him, he will block them. One was Holly O'Reilly, who got blocked after tweeting some negative things about the president. And an organization said, actually, this impedes your First Amendment rights to free speech and communication with the president. Now that's on Twitter, but it has come to light through a great article on ProPublica about other people who are doing the same, and it really pulls together all the other examples of this. In Arizona, a disabled Army veteran grew so angry when her congressman blocked her and others from posting dissenting views on Facebook that she began delivering actual blocks to his office.
Wow.
In addition, in Maryland, the governor blocked 450 people from the Governor Larry Hogan's Facebook page. And then the ACLU's director essentially said, it's so problematic if people are silenced in that medium because they can't effectively interact with their elected representatives on a nationally sanctioned, on the official website of the public official, as well as saying that since a lot of public officials have seen the negative press that comes about from town hall events where people show up personally to protest the behavior of their representative, that those representatives instead do a lot more on social media. And if a dissenting opinion is not available on social media, that presents a large problem because now there's no way to have any comment viewable by the public. So what do you guys think?
Well, and the reason why it's such an interesting discussion is because obviously the architects, the founding fathers of the Constitution had no idea that Twitter would become a thing. But given that Sean Spicer has gone on record saying that the tweets from the president should be considered official statements, we can of course, sort of meander that over to locally elected officials. Then those should, have the same standard as the president of the United States with regards to how official they are. And so if you are barring your constituents from communicating with you, you are barring them from interacting with their officials that they elect to office. The citizen engagement is important. It's what our democracy is founded on, and it's such a weird gray area. I was talking about this with Amir yesterday because I found the article. I was very proud of myself.
Great article. I really like this.
Thank you. I don't know where I was on the internet where I was like, I didn't know. I knew that Trump was sort of blocking people, but I didn't know that it was really sort of carrying over and trickling down to lower elected officials. And I was just really surprised. And I'm wondering, what is the standard here? If someone is threatening the life of a congressman and his family, I think that you can block that person, right?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
So here's the thing. Those websites have their own standards that apply to everyone. Right. And if you do not live up to those standards, then you are 100% held liable for that on the forum, so they will get rid of you from it. They can block you from that once you violate the standards in any way. And then also, I wouldn't say you necessarily have to block them from the platform, but if they're making a threat against an official's life, you can hold them legally liable for that.
So you think the official
takes care of itself in a way that's very clear.
Do you think the official could report that person and that's okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I think they broke the law first.
Right.
Saying I disagree with you does not break the law and is the first thing the framers of the Bill of Rights came up with to protect.
I think that, so Donald has his own, the real Donald Trump Twitter handle, then he has the POTUS Twitter handle, yes? So I think that on his personal Twitter handle, he should be able to say and block whomever he wants because that's his personal Twitter handle. Now, I think that Twitter, if you are a public figure, especially if you're a verified account, which has its own set of rules and stuff and guidelines, then yes, you should be, if you're a public person, you should be able to be an open forum and a source for people to come to and voice their opinion. However, it should be done respectfully though, because okay, you may like Brett, I may not like you, but I don't think you should have to tolerate me saying things that are racially charged threatening your life.
But you didn't vote for Brett. I think that what the problem is that these are representatives that even if they disagree with their constituents, those constituents they still represent them. So they need to hear them out. If it's a disagreement among friends, I think it's different. But I think that when we're talking about someone who's elected into office, elected into power, they do have a responsibility to hear out the dissenting opinions and the people that really like them through social media.
I think, but like I said, the word I use is respectfully though. I think that people should, fine, say what you want. I'm not you, but like you should be able to talk to the person you elected into office. But there needs to be a moral ground and a line where we can communicate respectfully without it going to mother effer, blah blah blah, because you're mad that they shut off your water, or you're mad about roads not being paved.
So
okay, there's a difference I think between Twitter and Facebook, because a lot of these situations, there's another with a police department who were deleting from the police department's official wall, essentially, that any dissenting opinion. And so now they have crafted which a reasonable person would assume is just a free discourse. They have moderated it and gotten rid of everyone else. So now they have a false documentation of people's opinions because they've gotten rid of one side of the argument. I think on Facebook, which makes sure you're who you say you are, Facebook, I have to be Brett Ehrlich to have the Brett Ehrlich as my name. And if they find out that I misrepresented myself as not Brett Ehrlich, I get deleted. They are much more serious about that than Twitter is. And so that's a public account. That wall is essentially a bulletin board in the center of town, as far as they're concerned. Twitter is less like that. Twitter is a discussion between two people. If I get blocked as Brett Ehrlich, I can start a new handle as like Fart Fuck Farm.
Which you should.
Which I absolutely should.
Absolutely should.
And so in that situation, if I was legally to say they blocked you on one account, it's like, well, you go start another account and keep doing it. That's for a public person. Now, we make a difference we draw a difference when it comes to the difference between the president and other people. So for Donald Trump's official personal account, we say you can't threaten the president's life. There's certain things you can't say about the president. So we treat that person differently. So I would say that since he's the president and he uses his own personal Twitter account in a very public way, which Sean Spicer has said is official, even though other members of his cabinet have said not. But I think what's happening is a lot of the judicial system has struggled to say, listen, there needs to be at least one forum on which we can take this guy at his word, literally. And so I think out of that necessity, we need to say that Donald Trump's official personal Twitter handle is something that holds up in a court of law as expressive of his opinions, because otherwise I don't know how to handle this guy. So I don't know,
So then how does that correlate with, so you were basically talking about on Facebook, deleting comments and sort of curating a page that suits you.
Facebook, it has to be you. So if they keep your personal Facebook account from the official discourse on the certified public page of an individual representative or an individual office, then they are keeping you from having a discourse. They are impeding your First Amendment right to free speech, political speech, because that's what you're doing. And if they keep you from doing that on Facebook, then
as in deleting it.
They're deleting it, they're blocking you. You can't block someone from a public site because it's a taxpayer site. So it's a taxpayer funded and enabled site. So that's public.
Right, so you think that having comments deleted on a public forum for a representative, or I was even thinking of a national park because that's how gay I am, and then is worse than if someone were to be blocked on Twitter because they can just create a new account and just keep tweeting at that person forever.
Right, and I don't think that you should be able to do that. I think in a legal realm that they'd say, well, reasonably speaking, they just blocked you because you said something bad, but there's nothing to stop you from making a new one and reporting, but I'm not a lawyer by any means. I do think that what I take away more from Donald Trump blocking Holly O'Reilly after saying something mean is that Donald Trump's such a wuss that he can't handle it. that our president is spending time going through and being like, that person offended me, I block you.
But it also,
and not muting, but blocking. What a turd.
It sets such a poor example, I think, that now we're seeing at a lower level. We're seeing governors and we're seeing representatives, and it's just such an easy cop-out, and I don't think that you're able to sort of if you can't face your constituents head on, face to face, which we're seeing because town halls are not happening because they've had such a poor reception, you need to at least be able to read their words. I'm sure that the citizens of Flint, Michigan are not the most respectful right now, but they need to be heard, and you should be able to hear them. I think that a threat is different, but when it comes to dissenting of policy, I think that you should absolutely hear that, and I think both sides agree with that. I was on Twitter. I found myself in a rabbit hole of people on the alt-right, and then I was on the super other side. What is that, like Antifa or something? And both sides, when you go down their Twitter little holes, they are always like quoting something and being like, "This person's blocked. Do you agree with this?" Or "This person's blocked. Do you agree with this?" From opposite sides, it's all about free speech, and I think that if we can't have that for publicly elected officials and people in office, then what do we have?
Well, and Grace, I agree with you. What I meant by respectfully is people who tweet like the dumbest stuff, like I want to, like, I don't know, shove a bat up your ass, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
But like, because I think that yes.
Well, that's not. I mean, yeah,
and that's the point.
But if someone's like, I haven't had clean water in 4 months,
different.
I want to shove a bat up your ass, they still need to hear that.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's the way that they're going to be the most receptive to, but
and this kind of thing before social media, there have been plenty of times when politicians have not listened to anyone. They have ignored the person who wants to shove a bat up their ass. There's just no documentation of that person saying it. They wrote a letter to their congressperson.
Social media is the all-seeing eye that you can't escape. Once on social media, it's there. But I think, but also the same right that these people have to speak to their elected official is kind of the same right Donald Trump has to be like, well, you know what? I don't like what you said. I can block you. And as much as it sucks, he does have that right.
Well, I think the difference is he's the president and he needs to not behave that way.
And
he's the president. He said, and he said, I represent Pittsburgh, not Paris. And so I'm the president of all of America. What a terrible, weak, cowardly message to send that now I'm blocking someone because they disagreed with me. Yeah. And they don't think I'm doing the best job. I just think it is a very clear message, and it opens you up to someone saying, I got to the president by doing what? Tweeting #Covfefe, and he got mad and so he blocked me. What a weak person. This is who's supposed to be strong on behalf of the country. Anyhow, I really enjoyed that discussion, even though sometimes I was upset.